Can a single battle change the course of history? Imagine the year 1314. The Battle of Bannockburn has just taken place. A pivotal event, it marks a significant turning point in the First War of Scottish independence. Its outcome reverberates across time, shaping the world as we know it today. So, how did this one event wield such enormous influence? Join us as we delve deeper into the Battle of Bannockburn, the event that changed the course of history. The year is 1314. Scotland and England are at the height of the First War of Scottish independence. In the early 14th century, the British Isles were far from united. Scotland, a nation proud and independent, was at loggerheads with its powerful neighbor England. The English, under the rule of King Edward II, sought to extend their control northwards, but Scotland was not to be easily subdued. At the heart of this conflict were two men, both kings, but very different in their leadership and vision. Robert the Bruce, the King of Scotland, was a battle-hardened warrior with a keen political mind. He was a leader of men, respected by his allies, and feared by his enemies. On the other side, Edward II of England was young and relatively inexperienced, yet he commanded one of the most formidable armies in Europe, a force that had seen many victories. The strategic fulcrum of this conflict was Stirling Castle. Perched atop a craggy hill, it was a fortress almost impregnable. Whoever held Stirling held the key to Scotland. It was the gateway to the Highlands and a symbol of Scottish resistance. As summer approached, Bruce knew that he needed to take the castle. Edward, understanding its significance, was determined to keep it. Both kings prepared for the inevitable clash. Bruce assembled an army of Scots, men who were willing to fight for their freedom. They were outnumbered, but they were motivated by a cause. Edward, on the other hand, had the might of England behind him. His forces were well-equipped, well-trained, and confident of victory. The two armies would eventually meet on the fields near Bannockburn, a small stream that would lend its name to one of the most decisive battles in British history. The Scots, led by Bruce, were ready to defend their homeland. The English, under Edward, were equally determined to assert their dominance. The stage was set for a battle that would determine the fate of Scotland. On June 23, the English army approached the Scottish lines. The tension was palpable as the two forces, each with their own unique strategies and tactics, prepared for the inevitable clash. The Scots, led by Robert the Bruce, had a crucial advantage. They were familiar with the terrain and had meticulously chosen their battleground. The Scots had also prepared a distinctive formation, known as the Schiltron. Picture this: a tightly packed formation of spearmen with their long pikes protruding outward like a prickly hedgehog. This was a defensive masterstroke designed to repel the feared English cavalry. Speaking of the English, their army was led by the formidable Edward II. His force boasted a significant number of heavy cavalry, a military asset considered the cream of the crop in medieval warfare. These knights, clad in shining armor atop their mighty steeds, were a sight to behold and a force to be reckoned with. Edward's plan was simple: use the power and speed of his cavalry to break the Scottish lines. As the battle commenced, the English cavalry charged fiercely towards the Scottish Schiltrons, but the Scots stood their ground. Their spears, firm and unwavering, turned the English charge into a fruitless endeavor. The Schiltron formation proved to be an unbreakable wall against the English horsemen. The first day of the battle was a series of such charges and repulsions. The English repeatedly attempted to break the Scottish lines, only to be repelled each time. The Scots, on the other hand, held their ground steadfastly, their Schiltron formation proving immensely effective. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for the Scots. The English longbowmen posed a significant threat, their arrows raining down on the Scottish forces, but the Scots stayed resilient, ensuring the day ended in a stalemate. As the sun set on the first day, both sides regrouped and prepared for what was to come. The Battle of Bannockburn was far from over. The stage was set for another day of intense warfare, a day that would ultimately shape the course of history. The dawn of June 24th saw the Scots ready for the English assault. As the first light of day broke over the horizon, the Scots, under the leadership of Robert the Bruce, braced themselves for the onslaught. Unlike the previous day, which had been marked by skirmishes and tentative clashes, this day was to be one of full-on battle. The English, led by King Edward II, launched their attack with full force. However, the Scots had learned from the previous day's encounters. They had understood the English tactics, their strengths, and their weaknesses, and they were ready to exploit them. The Scottish schiltrums, circular formations of spearmen, proved to be formidable. They stood their ground, their spears pointed outwards like a forest of deadly spikes. When the English cavalry charged, they found themselves unable to penetrate these human fortresses. The Scots had turned the English's strength, their heavy cavalry, into a liability. But it wasn't just about defensive tactics. The Scots also went on the offensive. They disrupted the English formations with well-timed attacks, sowing confusion and chaos in the English ranks. They targeted the English archers, who had been causing them significant casualties. Without their archers, the English lost a crucial element of their battle strategy. The tide of the battle began to turn. The English, who had started the day so confidently, found themselves losing ground. Their formations were in disarray, their morale was plummeting, and their casualties were mounting. And then, the final blow came. The Scots launched a massive counterattack, driving the English back. King Edward II, seeing the hopeless situation, was forced to retreat. The Scottish forces pursued the fleeing English, ensuring that they couldn't regroup and launch another attack. By the end of the day, the English were in retreat and the Scots had secured a decisive victory. The Battle of Bannockburn, which had started as a desperate struggle for Scottish independence, had ended with a resounding triumph for the Scots. It was a turning point in history, a moment when the underdog rose to challenge and defeat a much stronger adversary. The Battle of Bannockburn was over, but its impact was just beginning. The smoke had cleared, and the noise of clashing weapons had died down, but the echoes of the battle persisted, reverberating through the annals of history. In the immediate aftermath, the Scottish victory was a beacon of hope for a nation that had been under English rule. The Scots, under the leadership of Robert the Bruce, had proven their mettle and had shown that they were more than capable of defending their land. This victory set the stage for the formal recognition of Scotland's independence, a dream that had been suppressed for decades. The Battle of Bannockburn was not just a victory for Scotland, but also a significant turning point in the balance of power within the British Isles. The English, who had been the dominant force, were shown to be fallible. This loss undermined their authority and emboldened other nations under their control to strive for their independence. The ripple effects of this battle spread far and wide, impacting not just the British Isles but the entire continent of Europe. In the broader context of history, the Battle of Bannockburn holds a significant place. It is a shining example of the power of determination and the will of a people to fight for their freedom. More than that, it is a testament to the fact that even the mightiest can fall and that the underdog can triumph. The battle also had significant implications on feudal society. The success of the Scottish schiltron formations against the English knights challenged the perceived invincibility of the knightly class, leading to a shift in military tactics and the decline of knightly warfare. The Battle of Bannockburn was a beacon that illuminated the path to freedom for Scotland and other oppressed nations. It was a turning point, a catalyst that set off a chain of events that would shape the future of the British Isles. Thus, the Battle of Bannockburn, a two-day event, had repercussions that lasted for centuries. So what have we learned from the Battle of Bannockburn? We've traveled through time to the year 1314, where we've witnessed the tensions rise between the Scots and the English, culminating in a battle that would change the course of history. We've seen how the Scots, led by Robert the Bruce, utilized the terrain to their advantage, and how their ingenious schiltron formations stood strong against the might of the English cavalry. We've delved into the turning point of the battle, when the English, under King Edward II, found themselves trapped between the Scottish forces and the Bannockburn, leading to a decisive Scottish victory. This was a battle not won by numbers, but by strategy, determination, and the will to fight for freedom. We've also explored the aftermath of the battle, how it paved the way for the declaration of Arbroath and Scottish independence. It was a battle that not only shaped the history of Scotland but also had far-reaching implications for the British Isles and beyond. It demonstrated that even a smaller, less equipped force could triumph against a larger and seemingly unbeatable army, inspiring countless underdogs throughout history. This was the Battle of Bannockburn, a pivotal moment in history, reminding us of how a single event can alter the course of nations. Until next time, keep exploring history.